G'day guys, yeah, welcome to my stream for Saturday. Um, Today we're going to be going through PowerShell.org's forums, and we're going to have a bit of a look at some of the posts that have been going up there. And kind of what I'm thinking of doing is just going through some of the requests, writing a bit of PowerShell in terms of responding to those requests, as well as also having a bit of a look at better ways to do things. I had a bit of a look earlier today, and I can see that there's certain posts that we can obviously talk about a bit more and provide a bit more context to what's being discussed in those situations. There's certain things in PowerShell that obviously in this, I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned out of that. So obviously we're going to do this as a little bit of a obviously a community effort, but as well as that we'll be looking at in terms of trying to help the community as well by not obviously providing an immediate answer, but obviously providing some context and some lessons behind this with it. So let's get started. I think the first thing we're going to do is go have a look at our forum. So what I'm going to do is scene. Okay, so what we got here is we've got a few. Obviously, we've got the general PowerShell question and answer. We've just got some random ones in here. I've kind of had a bit of a look through here. There are some interesting ones that I do think that might have a bit more better perform a bit more of a discussion in terms of what to do and what not to do. So I think the first ones we've obviously got PowerShell has stopped working. Started by Joe. So I run several PowerShell scripts at the same time. It's just about everything I do. Every time I do this, a dialog box that comes up with PowerShell stopped working. Yeah, okay. I've seen this happen quite a lot, especially when you have long-running PowerShell scripts. With running several PowerShell scripts at the same time, the IC can sometimes lock up. So, and this is the biggest thing with IC is as a debugger. So basically, you're able to stop the flow and do things with it. The IC has issues with that, and I definitely it's definitely regarding the actual IC itself. So the ways that basically, unless you're explicitly debugging your scripts, it's always best to actually run it inside the executable itself. So I might as well quickly, log on. Give me 2 seconds. I'm going to log on. I'm just going to write a quick response for that because I do think that I've seen this happen before, many times. So. I'm going to be eating an apple during this as well, so if you hear me crunching away, it's an apple. So I'm just quickly going to quickly log in. Just going to bring that back. Let's go have a quick look. Oh, did I get some comments? We'll have a look at them later. So I got forums. That was general PowerShell Q&A. Oh geez, okay. Where did that go? Where did it go? Where did it go? PowerShell has stopped working. Forum. Oh, okay, that's on the second line. Oh, the second thing. So we'll quickly update that. I'm just going to quickly add a quick comment to that, just to say, hey, IC is designed as a debugger. It's not designed to run production code. The biggest thing is that basically you do not get confused with that. Just going to quickly write the PowerShell. I've had this issue as well. This happens. The IC. So it runs out of memory or IC. I'm just going to say the IC is designed to run in a the IC is designed to function is guilty of this, and then we'll do the IC function is debugging is for debugging scripts and not running code. As KVPRAS. This is because of MB due to memory limitation. Debugging issues. Just going to send a response like so. Okay, so one down. Ready to go. So bless me. What have we got? Embed, invoke host, C#. Hi guys, I'm a budding C# developer who's learning PowerShell to make it more powerful apps so I can touch workstations and servers. I've been trying to limit success, embed some PowerShell on my C#. I know it's possible, it's only some own remarks, probably is Googling for hours and hours and for the recent blog or forum post, I can really appreciate it. I actually do have some code on this. I might see if I can find some code. I've got some code. I might see if I can find it. Give me 2 secs, because I had a project that I had. I'm just going to quickly go find my code. What's it called? I think I've got code somewhere. I wrote I'm working on a project at the moment where I can actually make those changes. I'm just quickly trying to find that code because I think it's on my VSTS account. have a quick look at that. Okay, I'm just quickly signing in. Oops. Like, I gotta go find my I gotta go find my phone. I'll be back in a couple of seconds, guys. Sorry about that. So I just gotta find my phone. Okay, I'm back. Okay. Alrighty, so I just need to. I've got MFA, so yeah. Let's set a notification. Yep, it's that one. Touch for authenticate. Okay. So there's a C# library that allows you to run PowerShell 3. Yeah, I used it to wrap. I used to wrap into C#, and that class basically allows you to execute PowerShell. So what I did is I wrote a function which in C# that basically took a PowerShell from a database server, wrapped it into a function, and then basically executed it. So it basically built out the parameters dynamically. I'm just trying to find it. See if I can find it. Because it's pretty much classes PowerShell. What do we got here? Alright, yeah, this is it here. I'm just going to quickly grab it and paste it in Visual Studio Code. It's got a scratch pad here. Let's just create a new file. Just call it C# PowerShell.cs. So basically, generic automation. So yeah, it's using system.management.automation. And I'm using some Newtonsoft JSON. So executing, yeah, I've got my script block, some PowerShell parameters that they get passed in. Then I've got instance, create the instance. There's my string array, build my parameter set out. So basically for each of those items, I just build the parameter in, as you can see. So I'm actually building it out by a concatenation and string, a string concatenation. Following that, we have, I'll just close that window down. We basically invoke the wrapper. So basically I'm wrapping it inside a script block, and then basically inside that, then so I'm building a function, invoking it by doing that, and then outstring and converting the JSON. So that's basically how I did it. So let's go, since it's fairly generic, so what I'm going to do is just paste that in there. What's his name? Hi Bert. Here is an example that I wrote for a similar. Here's an example that here's code that I use to run PowerShell. Please note that it's system.automation class. I do think this is out of date though, which I think. So just put a block quote. Where's my? How do I? Where's my? Before posting, you'd be glad if you did. What's my block code? Can't paste HTML or XML ever. Yeah, smart. I'm just gonna put my tags in. Text. Just put some tags in. Pre and pre, like so. Let's see what the visual looks like. Okay, it doesn't really look like it's working. Okay, what's around your code and pre in that? Yep. Save them into gist. Create a quick gist. Okay, I'll just do that. So I'm just going to call it PowerShell C# gist. I'll just do that. Done that. So yeah, that's fine. Let's create a secret gist. That's fine. Just create now. Copy that. Oh no, how do we get the secret gist? Source. I'll just do that. See if that works. I think I need to paste it in that. Is that working? Script. Is it posting? I don't think it is. Let's see if this works. Let's create a raw. I'll just send it this link and just be done with it. Where was it? Here it is. I'll just do that. I'll just send it to the link. Insert edit link. Just insert a link here. Yeah. Hope that helps. PSM. I'm just going to call myself PSM from now on. So next item on the list. So what we got? We've got. Is it possible to connect remotely using an alias and CNAME? With WinRM, Windows Remoting. That's interesting because I think it wouldn't work for Windows WinRM, but I do think it will work for remoting with over SSH. Something like that. Yeah. WinRM won't work. Jordan might actually, one of the guys in our user group might be able to answer this. I'm pretty sure remoting over SSH would still work because that's just SSH. Like it's not actually using underlying WinRM Windows remoting. Yeah. So, hi all. Windows remoting won't work. However, SSH. What's it called? It's not Win remoting. PS remoting over SSH. PS remoting will work. But just to make sure, we're gonna. I really should test that. I'm not gonna make that comment until I test it, so I want to get back to you guys on that. So we might be here for the rest of our years if we're going to try and test that and spin up a Linux VM and install PS Core on it. So prompt windows for a file will not import CSV. Code below works when I manually set the CSV path of the CSV file using Windows Forms and selecting the CSV file. It fails that CSV import CSV path. Okay. New object, window, open file dialog. Yeah, because basically you've got to select the property. That's why. So you've got two properties here. You've basically the CSV path right here. From what I can see, we should rewrite this too. Like this is not the best. I don't know why you're going to try and import. Trying to import Active Directory module. Import path. Sys. Alright, we're rewriting this. This just doesn't make sense. I'm going to keep his existing log. We're just going to rewrite it. I'm going to call it import CSV stuff.ps1. First things first. So if we're going to have a look at this bad boy, I'm going to fire up the IC because the IC is better for this in terms of debugging. So obviously we're going to add the assembly name, which is Windows systems.windows.forms. That'll build the form. CSV path. I can call it. Okay, yep, that's fine. Open forms for property. Okay, did that even run? I don't even think it ran. Is it because it's... Oh, because you've actually got to show the dialog. Whoops, my bad. So, yeah, null, show dialog. So you can see here, I'm just going to select something under temp. Here's a photo of me. So we've got things. So if I dump out CSV path, we can see, yes. So basically what he's trying to do here, and here he's trying to import a path, but it's the wrong object type. So basically, if you wanted to clean this up, you'd basically have to go CSV path, and then you'd go file name, like so. So you can actually see there, that's the string type there. That's the property that we need to call. So as you can see, there it is. Wrong type. This happens all the time. Make sure when you're using the right type. I've had it happen to me. And I've also obviously seen it happen, so this is a good case. So what we're going to do, let's clean this up. Let's just clean this up. Add type. So second thing is we don't need to have this log function underneath it. So log can actually happen above it. We don't need finally blocks in here, so I'm going to clean that up a bit. Oh, actually, no, he's got his try catch there, so I'll clean that up. So I'm just breaking down the code so it's a little bit more readable. Let's fix this up. What's L? Log. When you're using parameter blocks are not C#. Parameter blocks need to be properly defined. You can define aliases within your parameter blocks, but the parameter blocks should be descriptive and meaningful. Let me clean this up. Don't need that. So you can see it's pretty much the same content. And then basically, yeah, so I'm going to clean this up and make it a bit more meaningful. So we'll get so I think the first thing we need to do is color codes according to whether it's an error or not. I could give you my logging function, but probably not the best idea. Just considering that it's not, he can kind of stick with his. So I'm just going to grab some boilerplate. Let's just quickly grab my code here. We've got some PowerShell hybrid test object property. Put some actually nice parameters in there. We're going to clean this up a bit more, make it look a bit more nice. So there's my param block. Create a logging function that writes to the console, color codes according to whether it's an error or not. So we can get rid of that, put that there, put a region on it. We're going to just put a region because basically these are things that it separates your code. So log, basically we got a noun, verb, verb, noun, a prefix. So we're just going to go right log. It's a good start. Region right log, like so. We're going to put some content there. We don't really need the params. So now we've got our param blocks. We basically got, we're just going to call it string. What should we call it? We should just call it, and then we're just going to call that type. We're going to then say it's a string type. We're not going to allow nulls, so we get rid of that. We're going to do string validation on this as well. So, we're going to do a parameter validation, sorry. So following that, oh yeah, that's actually one thing I totally forgot. So in my previous live stream, I just came to mind. We're talking about v3 hash tables. V3 hash tables there is methods that allow you to add and remove properties from it. Even though they're not visible, there's a property within that that allows you to do that. The property was, if I can remember, classes objects. Where's objects? Class collection. I'm in the wrong branch at the moment. But there's a property within. I think it's called PS script, something like that, something along those lines. It's a quite a long property. But basically, you can call that property, and that will actually that'll have the ability to add and remove. So sorry about that, guys. I actually was thinking about it afterwards, and I was actually thinking, no, that's totally not correct. So I'm just going to call it string. Content. It's a better way. Content type. So we're going to put some types on there. So he's got error, things like that. So we're going to clean this up. Get the date. Get date. Format. Like so. It's time. So we've got time. I need to do some validation. So I always get this wrong. I need to go have a look at my other code. I always get this wrong. Where is it? Collections, no class, no PowerShell website demo. No, we don't need to have that. Not that one. I'm going to put mandatory parameters and items on that. Oh, that's already done. That's just good. I'm just going to have a quick grab of my other code. Plex get. Always forget what I'm gonna have to go have a look for it because it's one of those things I use it a lot, but I just don't remember it off by heart. So I'm just gonna quickly Google for it. Let's quickly private window. Script validation, parameter validation. Sorry, PowerShell. It's one of these things. You'll recycle my code all the time again, and then I forget that basically. These is just the little things I forget. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Validate. I'm looking for a validate set. That's what I'm looking for. Validate set. So what we can do is that PowerShell has a features called parameter validation. So rather than having to have you manually trying to do tracking on whether it's a legitimate item or not, you can just do your validation and within here. So we're just going to say is error is warning and whether is info. You can see it's UTF, so I'm just going to clean that up. As a type mismatch encoding. So I've done that. So now I've got my validate on that. We can basically start validating. You don't need to use match. Match is not needed. Match is used when you basically are using. Let's default this to info. Matches. So I've just changed that to false, so that basically, if we don't specify the parameter, the default string type will be info, which is fine. So what we can do now is we can move. We can basically set that up. So basically, so we can just build out our string. We don't even need to have multiple write hosts. We just need to build out our string. So is equal to that. So first thing we're going to do is put our time in there. So like so. Usually I put time inside a square bracket so it looks quite nice. And then I'm just going to put current time. Second thing we're going to do there is we're going to basically put in the type. So what we can do there is we can just go put a number 1 there, and then we're just going to put the type like so, and then we're just going to go to 2 upper. So like so. Oh, well, that's fine. We're just is it? Yeah, I think it's just 2 upper like so. I haven't really done it. Just quickly check. Yeah, perfect. So that basically then puts it to upper, and then basically we've got our content, which is our string content. We'll just pass that through, like so. And now all we need to do is do our matching. So we can just do a single thing. So he's using different colors to print. You don't need that. So in this instance, if you got a warning, you write warning. If you got an error, you got write error. So in this instance, we can actually just do this. Like so. I'm just going to do write error non-terminating. Like so. And we're just going to go if type is equal to We're just going to go error. Just going to do write error. Log item. Else if type is equal to warning. We're just going to do this, write warning to the log item like so, and then we're just going to go else like that. Post, and then we're just going to go log item. I also think as well, might as well add it a little, might just add a verbose. Verbose like so, and then we can just do like so, and we can then do another one. Else if type is verbose like so, then I'll just do a write verbose. That basically just pushes it across all the streams if you need to go down that path. Keep in mind though, this is not logging, this is just, I'm guessing he's doing a start transcript. So yeah, so clean that up like so. It looks much nicer. We've basically gone through here, showing the dialogue. Might as well put something there. Try statements. So I'm just going to put a try there. Clean that up. Put some cleaning up there. We don't need a finally. You don't need to import Active Directory. If error is equal to 0, try import Active Directory. Why? I don't think you can try and import Active Directory if you need it. Nested try catch is a little nah. So we're going to try and import the CSV file. So we can just go try catch like so. We're just going to go, don't need to put the log in there, we can just update trace log. I'll just go update log, write log, content, importing CSV file like so. Try and import CSV file, CSV import CSV, literal path. Don't use figurative path, always use literal path because you'll get caught out. Use literal path, CSV path, and the CSV path was CSV path dot file name, error action stop. We want to ensure that, I'm pretty sure that terminates anyway, so then we basically catch it. An error occurred. So I don't know why you've got, if an error didn't occur, write log content, then we can just go, unless basically he's running this on an older non-version PowerShell 4. 4 brought in, I think 4 brought in that. So so what we can do here is we can go write content, so let's just say, realistically you can just actually just do that, dot message. So just quickly dump out an error for my unit. Is there an error here? Yeah, perfect. Let's just get the first error. Is it the message property? Error message? What's the property name? Property. What's the exception? I thought it was exception. Let's do that. Okay. So we can just do that. So just got that. Like so. Actually, I haven't had to do this in ages. I just call a function and it does it for me. Right, log. Let's go type as error. Type as error. Error occurred attempting to import CSV file. Error. Now, we have a legitimate error. We've obviously logged it as per se. I'm going to throw because basically I want the parent to have that error. So it's not something that basically is handled within the script itself and then there's no result. Something has to come out of the script. So having a pause basically, yeah, that's not terminating the script. That'll continue. From that, we've got the next item. We don't even need this. We don't need it at all. Pause the script if the CSV cannot have the CSV loaded, then try and import the pause the script. Get rid of that, like so. Done. What I'm going to do is then we're just going to use require statements in PowerShell. Let's go quickly grab my requires. Here we go. So we just need the modules one and the version. So modules. When did it come in? It came in 4, I'm pretty sure. When did it come in? No, we'll just use it anyway. We just use modules Active Directory, like so. We need version. We can just go 5.0 or 4.0. Run without and that's pretty much it. It's I think that's fairly it. I'm just gonna quickly chuck that together. How do we? So I'm bringing the file name along for the ride. So change import line to this. I'm like, yeah, you might as well clean it up. It needs to be cleaned up. I'm just going to quickly clean that up. So, hi there. Make things easier. Use require statements when the reason why you want to use require statements is because PowerShell actually preloads them. So when it sees the script, it actually preloads them into preloads them into PowerShell. So if it's not there, it fails, which means you don't have to manually deal with all those kinds of issues, which is good. User So something like that. I'm just going to quickly create a quick git, a gist. Let's create a gist. What I'm going to do there, what's this? Will not report CSV, let's do that. Crazy. Let's create a gist. Where did I put it? Oh, don't tell me I lost my response. Did I close it? Just gonna do that. Paste that in a notepad document. Okay, done that. Go have a look down here. Oh no, I didn't. Thank God. Okay, paste that link. Helps. So make things so please find attached link. Please find the attached link. Okay, so I've attached that link. What else we got to do? So yeah, put the link in there. So that PSM. So basically, require statements. We just he's trying to import content in a filing block, looking for an error. If he's trying to import Active Directory, if it doesn't, if it does succeed, needed a property there because he was looking with a different. He was working with an object rather than a property. He was just thinking he was getting a string there. And just basically cleaned up his code. So a bit of a write log. Got a param block on there, a bit of validation. Simplified it with write arrow, write warning, write verbose, and host. That's right up the top, obviously. Load your functions before you run your main code, or you're going to get weird results. Run your log, import your log file, import your CSV file, and yeah, that's it. You don't need anything else. You don't need to import Active Directory because if you use a require statement, PowerShell preloads it. Done. Alrighty. Let's go ahead and post that. Actually, I might just add. Oh, PowerShell executes from top. Yeah. Function will be in memory. That's pretty much it. Submit that. Two points. Okay. Next item. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. That's our next one. Help optimizing invoke command script. Okay, PowerShell novice. Thinking of creating a script yesterday. Got it to work. I feel like I'm just going to do some optimization. Do this within a single invoke command. Yeah, you can do that. You just return an object back and then just collect it. Oh, Olaf's done it. He's already built the object and returned it back. Fantastic. Yeah, that's v3 objects as well. V3 hash table, sorry. That's pretty much it. I don't really need anything else. I don't need that. Just need that. That's it. Yeah, measure command. All you need to do is just return an object and that's it, yeah. These guys have pretty much covered it. You're invoking the most time-consuming part of this process will basically be the invoke command, because obviously you're actually connecting to the remote WinRM instance and then actually running the PowerShell. Obviously bundling up all your PowerShell is a good start, but there's really not much else you can do in terms of performance. Yeah, I don't think I would say it just comes down to job started 358, 402, 353, 357. Where's Joel's response? Let's have a quick look at Joel's response. Where was it? There's OF, Kibble, Spoon, Joel. So he's got, yep. He's just put it in an object. Yeah, he's just put it inside an object and that's it. His is in two variables and then building an object. The time that it takes to build an object, literally is zero times. So I'm going to basically say right here, there's no real in terms of like, because if you look at what he said 358 to 402, 353 to 357. No, I don't think that that's actually entirely correct, because basically you're assuming that like these two lines of code, if I was to run that on my machine right now, we could actually do a measure object right now and have a quick look at it. So I'm going to tell you now that I reckon the performance would just be literally nothing. I think what he's actually looking at in terms of performance would be basically limited to the would be a factor of the actual whatchamacallit, the it would basically come down to the Windows remoting session and how it handles it. So this PS custom object, IP for each object, last boot. Okay, let's just do that. I'll just put that there. Where's that last on there? Yep, do that. Where's that? There it is. Let's just run it. Do a quick measure object. Make sure it runs first, because I don't want an error. Yeah, okay, you can see that runs. You can see there's my IP address. We can do a quick measure object. And I tell you now, these are basically going to literally be identical in terms of performance. What's it called? Is it measure object? What was measure object? Oh, it's measure command. Sorry, I thought it was measure object. It's measure command. Sorry. I haven't done this in ages, but yeah. So if we run measure command against it, really? Just go to XP. Alright. Import object. I'll just do expression. So just run that. See what it does. Here we go. Total milliseconds 457. So basically we just run it a couple of times. It's going to get faster. Yeah, you go 353, 325, 340. So it's about 300 when it's loaded into memory. So we got that one. Basically, it's down to Windows remoting. It's like it's not going to minutes is not going to be something that is going to be affecting performance here. So if I this is not going to be minutes. I'm going to say it's probably going to be the exact same time. So if I rerun this one now, so this is basically, so let's say our average is 400, that's our max. Here you go. So they're exactly the same. So basically, it's not due to the fact of That's not due to any sort of bad code. It's just due to WinRM. So remoting. So hi there. This is due to Windows remoting rather than the code itself. PSN. Then the code execution itself. I'm just going to submit that. I don't even need to put results in there. I'm just going to say that because that's basically it. Like, there's not really much else that needs to be mentioned. What else we got? So, PowerShell bug. What's this one? I did some searching. Not sure if it's a bug. If I run the command, blah, sure, blah. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with it. Yeah. What did you say? Yeah, it's to do with these console hosts. Nothing wrong there. Alright, let's keep going. What's the next one? What is the next one? Scope name. Anyone know how I can get a DHCP scope name? You can get the scope ID. PowerShell should be able to do that. Tip, if you're not sure, you have two things. You got Google or got get command. So if you know roughly what you're looking for, so if I'm looking for anything to do with file, I'm just going to do get command file. And then basically do that. Like, you don't, yeah. I honestly don't think that's warranted a forum post personally. MS Word, find and replace at end of line. Need a PS, want to create certain words. Do you have any code available you're working? This forums, yeah, exactly. If you're really gonna, yeah, I'm not. I think I've got some code lying around. Might as well give it to him. Not using it. If I can find it. I wonder if it's on my OneDrive. I wrote some code very long time ago on one of the places I worked at to do this, so I'm kind of just going to have a quick squiz through that. It was a report. It was a report. Where is it? Server monitoring? No. Exchange. What was it for? It was passwords, wasn't it? It was passwords. Update passwords. I'll quickly put this on this other screen, see if I can find the code, and then I'll just get it to him. Oh, if I can actually give it to him, I don't think I can. Oh god, this is rubbish code. God, I wrote some terrible code back then. Yeah, no, I'm not going to give him this code. That's not going to happen. Period. It's just too sensitive. All right, next item. Yeah, if they've pretty much answered it, I'm not going to answer that. I'm not going to give them the code if it's too sensitive. A multi-line pattern looking for contained content in file. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Okay, I'm new to PowerShell, but I still consider myself green. There's a pattern file with multiple lines of 3 or 4 lines. I want to use this as a pattern to compare against another file, number of occurrences that match. Caveat on this is the text being searched, not the start line. Each line has a new date stamp. Would appreciate any assistance. You wouldn't use select string. You use index of. You could use select string. Well, hang on. Let's try it, because at the end of the day, though, select string might be a better way to do it. So what we can do is, let's say our matching item is, let's go string hello, blah 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 hello. Then I'm gonna go select string hello. I think it doesn't. Just give me a list. I just want to see how many times it. I don't. Again, this you'd use index of simple match. Yeah. I'm gonna say index of select string pattern. I wouldn't use a select string. Personally, what I would do is I would actually use a regex file and then just basically match it. So what I would do there is, rather than using select string, because that's only going to tell me the length of. Is that going to tell me the length? Let me just run that and see a quick look, because at the end of the day, though, I think the length is the length of the item. Let's just try that. This is just usually how I mess around. Yeah, it's length of 1, so it's not counting. It's basically just saying, yeah, there's one result. That's it. I'll try count, see if there's anything different there. Same thing. So I would say that would be, yeah. Yeah, hang on one sec. So you got alright, so what we can say is, yeah, he's doing it right. He's actually doing regex matching. Oh, that's a multi-line search. Yeah, this is the better way, I reckon. Personally, I just do regex match. How many times does it match? Done. Here's your results. I'm not even gonna. Yeah, I don't think there's really much in terms of commenting there, so I'm gonna leave that one. Just close that. What's the next item? Multi-line, find replace, multi-line pattern. Issues and add computer to domain. Okay, let's have a look at this one. Windows 7 computer is trying to remove one domain and add to a different. I have a simple PowerShell script that does work fine since the server domain does not. Yeah, because it's PowerShell 2. Wish to specify a particular domain controller when the computer gets added to the domain. Is that possible? There you go. I'm like, that's pretty much it. Like, I don't think you need to add anything else there, so I'm just gonna leave that one. GPO PS module path. Oh, interesting. Is this the one I wrote? I've been trying to add a line PS module path for every technician. Have access to custom modules. The script is one line. Testing like individual technicians have access to this S drive. Okay, first things first. Do not add modules from a network drive because basically, from what I remember, you can't actually do it properly. I remember having issues. It's got to be locally deployed. Could be wrong, but this is just going back in the day. Yeah, just create a script. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Okay, so you can put it on UNC share, but yeah, just create a module. That's it. Don't need to. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not really going to add anything to that. That's just pretty. I don't really need anything else to add to it. Yeah. XAML. Oh man, XAML. That's a story. So I had to write a program in XAML to provision and remove users in Active Directory. But we couldn't use RSAT, so we had to use LDAP and ASCII, and it wasn't my most favorite script, especially for supporting it, because basically supporting anything like that is just an absolute headache. It's just so difficult to manage, especially if you don't know that kind of language. Using LDAP is just an absolute headache. So using the following script, populated XAML GUI for table editing. Part I'm hung up is getting defined. In PS1, handle click events, trial new ideas, although I can't work out doing an out file in the for each that creates other issues. In case. Okay, so first thing you understand with PowerShell and any sort of form-based actions is the fact that basically PowerShell executes in single-threaded. Yes, you can make forms and things like that out of PowerShell, and then that has that capability to do it. Would I do it? No, I wouldn't do it because it's not designed for it. It's basically, if you're going to do something like that where you're building a GUI or having some sort of nice thing, either one, put it in a website, or two, basically write it in C#, and basically use XAML within C# so you can actually create your proper click events. When creating click events in XAML, you have to register them. It's simple. It's similar to the Windows forms. You have to register your click events. But the thing is that if I click a specific event in the PowerShell script, the rest of the script's execution will stop until that part of that form has been completed, whether you have to fill out something out and then returns back. So in these situations, it's really, really, really important to basically note that that's your first problem, is that everything's single threaded. So if you want to say, for example, update something out here dynamically, you're either going to have to use timer jobs and things like that, which, yes, you can make it multi-threaded in that kind of sense, but oh man, is it worth it? Not in a million years. I regret the days that I write GUI applications with PowerShell. I think it's totally not worth it. I think it's a waste of time, and I think personally, again, it needs to either be written as a web form or it needs to be written somewhere else. It's not supposed to be written in PowerShell. PowerShell's not designed to do that. Now, there's one caveat to that, and there's one caveat. There's one exception to that, and that's basically when we're doing any sort of OAuth authentication. So when we need to pop up a form, basically, for example, when you need to sign in and grant permissions for PowerShell to access an OAuth 2.0, endpoint or things like that, that require an authentication to a web form, that's legitimate. However, if you're basically editing in the GUI or do anything like that, it's just not worth it. It really isn't. Best of my thought, trying for it to kick out all my variables. Okay, so let's have a good read of his code. He's got his SQL script, select blah. He's got that. He's creating news objects, table. He's filling it out. Yep, he's got his trial script. So environment and that, blah blah. Fine name. Okay, so when you're setting, curious to know what you expect from the below line. Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. Not my best thought on what to try. I'm after. The one you're asking is looking for the following. The point of spinning in circles, making my problem worse, tinkering each result. Okay, here's the whole script. Button enumerator, system list. Okay, select that. XAML. So he's basically got a name list. Yep. Okay, that's his. There's his. Yeah. Okay. Here's his XAML. Where's his? Okay. Add type. System drawing. Here's his XAML. Loading it in. Add a click event right here. Add a click event there. Apply scripts. Use machinery updates. Yes, XAML would be more prudent. There's no QA forms. I'm not going to XAML if you like. So you post anything. Why are you doing this? I don't think I'm going to answer this one because I've got 15 minutes left. I do think we might be able to find something that's a little bit more that we can kind of provide a bit more input for the last, a little bit more conversation for the last 15 minutes. Yeah, that one's already going anyway. So, mapping a network drive that stays after log off. Okay, so I have a script that maps the network drive, but the drive goes away when the user reboots or logs off. I need a .source script and stick around at a .source drive maps. Okay. The first thing I'm going to ask is why, yeah, you're putting in this is why isn't this a GPO? That's exactly what I was thinking. You shouldn't need to do this. .sourcing is not required or impact. Yep. Persist could do the trick. Or you can just use net. Yep. It was originally a GPO logon script, but testing led to believe that it takes much longer than just running it manually. What? So it was who's ever going to need this? Right click the file and I started. I'm going to upvote every like this. I cannot use Microsoft GPO because the mapping is on a workstation in our DMZ and all the users are on it in the domain. GPOs will not allow me to enter login information for an account outside the domain due to security vulnerabilities. This feature was removed in 2013, so I think the straight GPO method would not work in this case. Even in your DMZ, if you got something like this, you'd have a domain controller. I do have a letter assigned in the script to pull that. I'll pull that for security reasons, but there are no reasons showing my quotes was. I'm going to tell you now, having security reasons, I'm going to tell you now, having a domain controller, I'm having it talk to a domain controller in a DMZ is way safer, especially with if the domain controller is in a DMZ, or it's in an isolated network, than basically having it running this, because you're mapping a network drive, and from what I see, okay, you sign the script, that's good. But you're basically getting the content from basically a secure password, which like all I got to do is run into that user context. So basically, if any sort of application is running out of that user context, I can extract the password. Yeah, okay. I don't. I honestly wouldn't. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know why. Hi there. Reasons that having secure string password. Context isn't any more secure as isn't any more secure. Okay, that's a little bit too savage. Probably gonna have to tone that down a bit. This is gonna be tough because I've got to tone it down. Hi there. I would definitely. In your of your DMZ. To allow authentication, I would definitely. Option here. With specific firewalls to. Mate, let me know if you guys are watching. Let me know what you would do, because right now, yeah, I think realistically for me, I would just be building a domain controller in a segmented part of the DMZ. I don't. You just having a script with a saved password on there to map a network drive on a DMZ is just asking for trouble. Even if the machine gets compromised, the only thing it can do is when it's talking to Active Directory, if the firewall rules are set up correctly, is to auth. That's it. So if the auth fails, then yeah, you've pretty much removed a large chunk of you've improved your security as per se. Yeah. Having specific firewall rules to allow for authentication. Having local script seems the immediate option here, however. Secure string passwords can be decrypted. Can be decrypted using the same user context. I think that's less savage. I definitely suggest you have investigated the domain controller segment part of the DMZ and allowing firewall rules to allow for authentication. Having a local script, which seems to be the easy option here. Having a local script seems to be the easy option. However, since it's less secure, done. I think that's pretty much that. I've got a couple more minutes before I need to jump back off. It's savage, but at the end of the day, though, I personally believe, and I think a lot of the other guys are basically saying the same thing, is that I just wouldn't do it, just because of the fact that it's easier to have a domain controller built into a DMZ environment, lock it down with some decent firewall rules, and then basically auth directly to that. After all, if you're accessing a file server, yeah, you can traverse a firewall via SMB, but at the same time, though, you kind of gotta, like, there's times for automation, there's times for not, and this is definitely not one of those ones. I just wouldn't do it. Period. So let's biff that one off. I think I got some responses actually. Did I get some responses on my contributing, writing? No. Did I get a response or something? I don't think I did. We'll just keep going. Mapping a network drive, XAML, yep, cannot run Pi and PowerShell. I'm going past that one. Issues setting calendar permissions. Yeah, this is going to be a fun one. So, how is he set? Okay, he's trying to set mailbox permissions. Calendar processor would like another set of eyes what I'm doing wrong. You have PSS session, set mailbox permission, identity, access right. Yeah, that's a big one there. He set basically, you got to do a get, but he is basically like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think, yeah, nothing needs to be mentioned there. It's interesting because that's basically for your local exchange. When setting with 365, it's much different, especially when using graphs. So, not going to talk about that, but all I know was it was a massive headache. So, unread PowerShell commands for removing invoicing Microsoft 365. PowerShell commands for, okay, let's have a look at this one. PowerShell store procedure, we can have a look at this one. Hi all, Microsoft loves dropping new apps in the apps section. I was wondering if there's any way to remove specifically. Secondly, maybe it's just, I'm just not even going to respond to that. I've been stuck with this issue. Start a store function, just return a value. When I use an if statement, I can compare against the other value. When I store in this var, becomes table. Oh yeah, because look at that. So basically, you got a space. So you just need to, when you're referencing any sort of property that actually contains a space within it, you just basically enclose it in quotes. Yeah, so just enclose it in quotes. So leave it there for someone else. Yepers, special characters, file names, extensions. Personally, I'm just going to add a quick comment here. You can, hi there, if possible, in your stored proc, do a select as, and do a select as. Stored proc, you can. This is an interesting story because my colleague Alex actually had a he had basically two SQL views that he was querying. They're completely different. And he could basically do the comparison in PowerShell, but it's actually better it's a better practice to do the select as inside of the SQL tables, because basically if you can select as and get the column names the same within the SQL, then when PowerShell actually does its compare, it doesn't need to worry about those kinds of those issues. So personally, do it the higher up it is, it's easier. The lower down it is, it just adds more issues. So I'm just going to write him a quick story about that. Hi there. I had the same issue. Oh my. Yes, you can. To article with spaces. I see. SPAs. To call variable with spaces. PSM. My colleague had the same issues. Using spaces. However, I would recommend select as in the table. Stored proc. Simplify the PowerShell. Yeah, that's pretty much that. I don't really think there's much else there to add. I think that's pretty straightforward. And it's raining at the moment. I think that's pretty much it. I think, yeah, I'm just gonna just submit that. I'm not gonna fix up any more code because that's gonna take too long. Yeah. Got 58 points. Got a long way to go. Long way to go. Yeah, I think that's it. So I think we're going to leave it there today. So it was a fairly easy day. Just kind of moseying around in PowerShell in the forums and just responding to people's comments. Like I said, there's some there that I just wouldn't do. The biggest thing, the biggest take home you guys can take with PowerShell is PowerShell's not designed. PowerShell can do a lot of things, but PowerShell is not designed to basically replace the functionality out of Windows, or it's not designed to basically, it's not designed to augment any other process that's already in place. Let's not try and reinvent the wheel, but basically let's try and ensure that PowerShell is used in its correct sense. So yeah, let's just leave it there for today. I don't think there's really much else to add. So yeah, thanks guys, and hope you guys tune in next time, and bye for now.